Welcome to another video on Dynamics 365 Finance Supply Chain Management integration with Dynamics 365 Sales using do-and-write, and in this special case, the prospect-to-cash solution. As the name suggests, we can now integrate the system starting with the generation of prospects, and what you see here is a parameter tab in the accounts receivable parameters. Here are some important options that you can activate if you like. One is that we have a lifecycle integration. This means that the sales quotation belongs to either the CRM or the ERP system, and the process has to be done in the system. However, you can of course change and manage the sales quotation in both systems, but one has the process ownership. Another interesting part is to make the ERP the price master, and to have the option to calculate and push prices from the ERP system to the CRM system. I would like to show you how you can create the prospect, synchronize this information between both systems, make it a customer, create the order, push prices, and finally create an invoice and have this information in both systems. So let's get started in sales. Don't be confused, I'm using here a German-speaking system. I will try to explain what I'm doing, and if you're familiar with sales, I'm pretty sure you know where or what I'm clicking. So I would like to start by creating a new prospect and give it a name. Let's say company 123, CMP 123. Business relation type here is prospect in my case. And let's give it a price list. And this should be enough to create this information and synchronize it to the ERP system. Because dual write is almost real time, we have this information now already in the ERP system. So let's check this out. In the ERP system, I have here my prospects. And here we should have a company 123, and here it is, company 123. And of course we can work in both systems, and for example, if this is our backend system, we can add some information here like email address or telephone number. I'd like to go for an email address, so that's office@company 123. To make it a primary email address, save it on this side of the synchronization. This information now will be synced back to the CRM system, and we should be able to see this information, this new email address, immediately in the CRM system. So go back to the CRM, refresh, check the details, and you can see we have here the email address that we provided in the ERP system. Now we can finish this prospect in the backend, in the ERP system. And now that we have all the information, we want to work in the CRM system and make a quotation. But first let's create the customer in the ERP system. Yes, I want to make the prospect the customer. You can see the prospect is coming from the CRM system and is now created as customer in the ERP system. This takes a few seconds. Now that you can see, we have switched the forms here. We are no longer in the prospect form, we are now in the customer form. So I'll just open it that you can see what we have done here. So company 123 is now a customer record in the ERP system. And when we go back to our CRM system, to the sales system, and check here from the accounts, we should see that the business relation type now has changed from prospect to customer. So this change to make a prospect the customer has also been synchronized back to the CRM system. Let's create a quotation. So I create a new quotation for my newly created acquired customers of a company 1 to 3 and CMP 1 to 3, don't know, 1 if you like. So we can leave this blank, I think. Let's save this quotation. This should create the quotation header in the ERP system. And let's add a product here. I'm using existing product active speaker. And save this information, and then we will have a look in the ERP system and check out this quotation in the finance supply chain system, where we should have a quotation header and a quotation line with one item. So let's check this out in the ERP system. I'm switching back to the ERP system and here to quotations. In quotations here we have the quotation CMP1 to 3 underscore 1, and we should have one item in this quotation. Here it is, and of course we can go here and work on this quotation, add additional lines. Since we have here one product in white, let's add this product, let's say in black, should be available. And save this additional line. Now we have these two items. Let's check back in sales and refresh. And you can see we have both items down here. Now, like I have said, you can use the ERP system to manage the prices here. And let's say that we have some special price. Let's go to the price management module. I have created a special discount. I would like to enable this discount now. This here, it says for this item we give a discount, and I'm going to enable this discount now. This takes a few seconds, and it is published now that you can see here. So this discount is now in place. Let's go back to our quotations. And check recalculate and have a look at the price. You can see the special discount has been applied, and now from here push prices and totals. We're going to push these prices back to the CRM system. This is done using a message processor that is running asynchronous in batch, but you can push this manually if you like. So we can go here and actively push this down here. Like I said, normally this would be done via a batch job, but just to speed this up, I'm doing this here manually. You can find this message processor in the system administration module, and it is also used by the prospecting cache solution to integrate both systems. Now this has been done, it has been processed. So if we check back here and refresh, we should see the data. As you can see, the data from the ERP system and the totals have been pushed from the ERP system to the CRM into the quotation. So now, because Like I said, we have an integration with the lifecycle management. This means when you go to the quotation, you will see on the right here an origin and an ownership. In this situation, it is configured the way that the owner is based on the origin. This means if a quotation is created in sales, the owner is sales, and if a quotation is created in supply chain management, the owner is supply chain management. So to process this quotation, because the ownership for our quotation is in sales, we go back to sales. And by process, I mean we want to activate this quotation now. And now this quotation is active, so it will change from the state created when we refresh to the state sent. You see the state is here changed. You cannot do this here in the ERP because this can only be done in the owner system. And now we can say either we have lost this quotation or we have won. And in our case, let's say we have won this, and we want to make a sales order. This will create a sales order in the CRM system, and because the solution also integrates with orders, this order will also be created in the ERP system. This takes a few seconds. Now you can see the system has switched to the order here, and we have a new order. Let's check this in the ERP system. Let's check the sales orders. You can see we have a new sales order for company 123. Is this sales order here? And it should have both of our items. And we can now work here, buy stuff, produce stuff, pick, pack and ship, and create an invoice if you want. What I'm going to do here is to create an invoice. So I go directly here to the invoice tab, and I would like to create the invoice based on these two lines. Quantity is all, this is okay for me. So let's create the invoice. Of course, the invoice is part of the ERP system. This is nothing that is done in the CRM. The invoice has been posted, so let's check out the journal. We have an invoice journal with an invoice number, and when we go to our CRM system, to the invoices, you see that's the same invoice number, and it has been synchronized back from the ERP system down to the CRM system. So what have we done? We have created a prospect in our CRM system, saved and modified this information. We did some additional modification to the prospect in the back office in the ERP system. We created a customer based on this prospect. This information has also been synchronized to the CRM systems, and we created a sales quotation in our CRM system, modified it in the ERP system, pushed the prices from the ERP system back to the CRM system using prices from the new price management module. We created a sales order in the CRM system and processed the sales order and posted an invoice in the ERP system, and this information, the invoice, has been synchronized back to the CRM system. So as you can see, from prospect to invoice, this process can now be run in both systems, and both systems are integrated nearly in real time. I hope this was helpful for you, and if you have any questions, please ask me or leave a comment to the video. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Bye bye.